The ancient Egypt is not only famous for its pyramids and hieroglyphs but also for its rich fauna. However, several animals that once inhabited this region have disappeared. In this video, we will explore 7 of these extinct animals, such as the imposing desert wolf and the majestic Venus heron. Discover how these beings were part of the Egyptian ecosystem and their impact on the life of the ancient Egyptians. If it's your first time on the channel, subscribe now to not miss any important content about the darkest chapters of our history. The Primigenius uro, a species of wild bovine that is believed to be the ancestor of modern domestic cattle breeds. Unlike these, the uros were giants, with adult males weighing up to around 1,000 kilograms, while females were generally smaller, with a typical weight of around 600 to 800 kilograms, making them more comparable to bison than cows. In addition to being larger, they had different proportions from those seen in modern cattle, with long, thin legs, while their necks and torsos were more robust and muscular. Their horns were also enhanced versions of those seen in domestic cattle, being much larger. All of this describes quite an imposing cow, and indeed it was. The uros were known to be less docile than modern cows and were even regularly killed by each other during mating seasons. Sadly, they are now extinct worldwide. It is believed that habitat loss and human hunting led to their extinction. The Barbary lion, Panthera leo, these lions, which once roamed deserts, mountains, and steppes along the Nile, were giants, measuring approximately 3 meters long. 19th century hunters described them as the largest of their species. They had a rather complex relationship with the ancient Egyptians. On the one hand, as they did not live directly near human settlements, farmers rarely encountered them, although they were occasionally involved in attacks on crops or livestock. However, these instances were not frequent enough to be considered a major threat. Most people never saw these lions. Although they no longer exist in Egypt, their legacy lives on in the stories and representations of the ancient civilization. The Venus heron. This extinct species of heron was distinguished by its impressive size. According to fossils and Egyptian art, adults of this species easily surpassed the average human height, reaching about 2 meters, equivalent to the legendary Kobe Bryant. Had it survived to this day, the Venus heron would be recognized as the tallest bird capable of flying, surpassing the current champion, the whooping crane. But its impressiveness was not limited to height. Its wings were equally remarkable, with a wingspan reaching over 2.7 meters, 34% larger than the wingspan of an ostrich, the heaviest living bird on Earth. It is believed that this majestic heron inhabited the swamps of the Nile River and fed on a variety of prey, from fish and turtles to small mammals and snakes. The Venus heron also left its mark on Egyptian culture. Many believe that Venus, a deity in ancient Egypt associated with the sun, creation, and rebirth, was inspired by this large heron. Therefore, it received cult worship, especially in Heliopolis, an ancient city that was the center of the Venus cult. Just like other sacred animals in Egypt, Venus herons were buried alongside mummies as a form of protection for the deceased. The Mydon geese. This Egyptian bird was, in almost all respects, a normal goose, sharing the same diet and habitats as the Venus heron mentioned earlier. However, what set it apart was its color, as the Mydon geese had unique color patterns not seen elsewhere. But what really makes these birds notable is that they are the only animal discovered through art, and to date, no bones have been found belonging to them. This monumental discovery has led the artwork to be named the Mona Lisa of Egypt. The 4,600-year-old piece was found in 1871 in a tomb located near the Pyramid of Mayum, built by Pharaoh Sneferu, and is preserved in the Egyptian Museum of Antiquities in Cairo. There is also an exact replica in the British Museum in London. The tomb belonged to the son of the pharaoh, the vizier Nefermat, and the painting itself was supposedly found in a chapel dedicated to Nefermat's wife. Since we only have this painting, not much is known about the Mydon geese, but the method of discovery remains quite ingenious. Despite the apparent trend for each extinct animal to be admired to some extent by the ancient Egyptians, bones of a similar but not identical bird have been found in Crete. The North African elephant, Loxodonta anticus, the North African elephant, also known as the Carthaginian elephant, was a possible subspecies of the African elephant but much smaller in size, with fully mature adults being more comparable to Asian elephants than African ones. Although they were similar to their relatives, these elephants had the large, concave ears typical of modern elephants, giving them a distinctive appearance. It is also possible that they were more docile, which may explain why they were domesticated by the Carthaginians using some unknown method. The North African elephant inhabited various areas, including plains, savannas, forests, deserts, marshes, and highlands. However, it cannot be stated with certainty that they were present throughout the entire ancient Egyptian kingdom from the beginning, as their distribution may have varied over time. Although North African elephants were not particularly common in ancient Egypt, there is evidence of their presence in the region, having experienced years of population decline, which eventually led to their complete extinction from the area that today constitutes modern Egypt. By 2900 BCE, their extinction may have been exacerbated by humans' disdain for them due to their consumption of crops. Furthermore, although they were not necessarily giants, they were still elephants, and their herds would inadvertently destroy small structures and crops by simply moving. This led the ancient Egyptians to expel elephants from their natural habitats forcefully or simply kill them. The pharaoh killer hippos. Hippos, known in ancient Egypt as pharaoh killers, also received harsh treatment from humans. Like the North African elephant, these giants sometimes caused havoc on crops and enraged humans. However, they made things worse by attacking boats, attacking people, killing, and generally causing chaos. Even pharaohs occasionally found themselves unintentionally involved in the problem. Hippos and humans did not get along in ancient Egypt, which led to directed attacks against the hippos. The devastation caused by hippos on crops was so severe that the first pharaohs spent many resources on eliminating them, focusing on expelling them from the swamps. The desert wolf, Canis lupus lupister, the desert wolf, also known as the Egyptian wolf or desert wolf, was a subspecies of wolf that inhabited the arid regions of Egypt and nearby areas. This smaller wolf, compared to its larger northern relatives, was adapted to the harsh desert conditions. It had short fur and a more streamlined body to help regulate its temperature in the hot Egyptian climate. The ancient Egyptians admired this wolf for its cunning and hunting skills. In some ancient artifacts and reliefs, wolves are depicted as symbols of vigilance and protection. These animals also appeared in local mythologies, being associated with the desert goddess and the household. If you've made it this far and learned something new from our stories, subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss our upcoming videos. Together, we can discover and remember the truths that history often tries to hide.